So, I definitely did not at all see this coming. It looks like we're going to be going into a second full day of jury deliberations, even though they kind of went home like really fucking early, okay? Like this just got announced a couple of minutes ago at time of recording. No verdict today, but we did have a little development and a little insight as to what the jury is actually thinking, okay? So we're going to take a look at that first and foremost, and then I want to get into some stuff that I've been talking about for the past couple of days, and then also the extraneous people that have been, you know, trying to pump this up to make it seem like, oh my god, if they're going to be going into another day, it looks like Amber Heard's definitely going to win this, or at least she's not going to have to pay that evil abuser Johnny Depp, because some of her supporters are fucking weirdos. So yes, at around just after lunchtime, right? Because I was listening to some coverage here today, and yes, the lawyers were called into the courthouse, and the judge showed up, and it's like, we got a jury question. I was like, all right, what exactly are you guys looking for clarification on? I've seen this with a bunch of the different trials that I've been following at some form or fashion. Okay, the jury will come forward with a question, and it'll give you some sort of an insight as to what exactly they were looking at. Kyle Rittenhouse specifically, that's the one that everybody was at least paying attention to on my site at the time. Site, channel, whatever the fuck. There was a jury question about one of the more obscure charges. I think it was the Grosskreutz shooting, but whatever. It was one of the more murky charges, if you can even believe that, but we had so much video evidence on that. That was one of the most clear-cut instances of self-defense that I've ever seen before in my life, and the trigger control and the trigger discipline on Rittenhouse is lauded, and it should be taught everywhere. But anyways, enough about that. You guys care more about this stuff anyways. The Depp Heard question, okay, pertains to this page of jury instructions, item 1 in the title, and number 3. Alright, so the question, does question 3, the statement is false, pertain to the headline, or does it pertain to the content of the op-ed? This tells me a couple of things, and the fact of the matter that we're going to be going into a second full day of deliberations, which I still think it'll probably be somewhere after dinner. I just couldn't believe that we're going through a full fucking day on this. I thought everybody would have figured out the stuff that they really were, had all the big questions figured out with a couple of hours that they had last Friday, and then thinking about this stuff and ruminating about it over the weekend. Maybe that kind of swayed and clouded some people's judgment on this type of stuff. But again, if they're getting bogged down in the weeds on this, there's got to be some fucking brainlet sitting in there. Somebody who has 105 IQ who really thinks that they belong in Mensa and they're just being treated wrong. We need to go ahead and parse out every single word here. Somebody who's going to get hung up on technical defamation, just leaving in the dust for 6 weeks. They were lied to by Amber Heard's side. But yeah, no, definitely. Just go ahead and get into the real technical aspects of defamation, right? Fuck off. So yeah, here's the page. Is that going to show up nicely? It is. Wow, look at that. I'll just center it. So, number 3. Yeah, the statement is false. Semicolon. And. Okay, so. Is the statement false? I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. So, that is in regard to that statement. The headline right there. So, what do they have to find on there? Okay, so they apparently figured out that it must have got past number 1 because, the second point right there, okay? And I guess number 1, realizing that, yes, she did publish, and she also admitted that that statement, okay, the headline and the op-ed itself was about Johnny Depp, which was drug out of her. Well, actually, not really drug out of her. She kind of volunteered that information on cross-examination on the rebuttal case of that by Camille Vasquez when she was getting super pissy, but we'll have more video evidence of that towards the end of the video. But so number 1 was, did she make or publish the following statement? Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced their culture's wrath. That has to change. What culture's wrath? She continued to have a career after that. She signed on for an endorsement deal with L'Oreal. Okay, she got the biggest payoffs in her career after publishing that op-ed. Okay, what culture's wrath? Okay, and I spoke up against sexual violence, which there's a ton of implications in there. Okay, and the first time that she made the claims of sexual violence was in that op-ed, was with that headline. Okay, and that has to change. Okay, what do you want it to be changed to? Actually, holding people who perpetuate false sexual assault, the domestic assault, domestic violence charges, you should be held accountable. I agree with you. but that's not exactly what you're going for. That's just my preference on this. So they've already decided on that one way or another. Theoretically, if they're quibbling over number 3, they must have already gone yes for number 1. Okay, the statement was about Mr. Depp. Well, given her own admission on the stand, yes. Okay, and then number 4, I don't know if they've got that far into it, and if they're already on the 3rd statement. Okay, I'm thinking we're probably going to be seeing a verdict pretty early tomorrow. Well, at least I hope so, because we should be just, done and dusted with all this stuff anyways. But a statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp. Okay, that's kind of hinged on number 3. Is the statement false? I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. Theoretically, if you take a look at what Amber Heard incurred, the story that she has been spinning over the past 6 weeks through her lawyers and through her witnesses, okay, she theoretically did face the culture's wrath. You just take a look at the facts and everything that was presented in the case itself. She didn't face any wrath. She reaped the benefits of making these statements. She had the most profitable time in her career to this point. She published the article. She received her spokesmanship from the ACLU. She went on to be in Aquaman 1 a couple of days later. It was already in the can, but thanks to the warm handoff from Johnny Depp to DC, care of Warner Brothers, she was already making money. Okay, and then she got to be in The Stand, the HBO miniseries, which is rated like dog shit, and that was even before all of this stuff started to come out anyways. And then also in Aquaman 2, they picked up another one of their options, Aquaman 3 or anything like that. Even though DC, all of their films are kind of going through a regurgitation, kind of a recasting phase, it doesn't really look like that's going to be on the table because she had so many problems and everything is so terrible. But that's what this claim is hinging on. And the fact that they're just worried about the fucking headline, okay, that means, okay, that there's got to be somebody in that jury box who is reading that super autistically, okay? Well, Amber Heard said that she faced backlash. Not until a counterclaim got brought against her and Adam Waldman was out there saying, like, this shit is dog shit. And I've actually got the proof on this. So would you guys like some audio recordings? Would you guys like to see some pictures? Would you guys like to see any contemporaneous evidence? Because that would be great. Because up till that point, what wrath did she face in the interim between 2016 and 2018? She received the domestic violence restraining order. She got the divorce from Johnny Depp during that time, okay? What fucking violence, what backlash did she face? Johnny Depp got to continue to go on and he had normal acting roles during 2017 and 2018. Is that not holding a man accountable? Is that the culture's wrath? Somebody who is no longer in a relationship with you can continue to go on and have a life. That's the culture's wrath? Like, is that what we're doing here? Or is there one Amber simp in there who's like, she did face the wrath and it does have to change? Great, wonderful, fantastic. She's probably that person. Okay, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. There's more men on that panel. I think based on some of the mock jury forms that are out there, there's 2 women, 5 men. Something like that. Probably the same type of people that think that legal abuse is abuse. Now we're going to get into some of the more hilarious people that are supporting Amber Heard in this. Because, okay, Amber Heard, constant victim. She has all of these precautions because she's constantly triggered by everything. That's why she has to go live out the rest of her life as a part-time lesbian out in the desert. In her $1 million house. It has a 110-foot rope bridge on it and a nice lookout. It's pretty cool and all that stuff, considering the fact that it's a stone's throw away from the Hicksville trailer park. But anyways, no, legal abuse is abuse. Just like your husband saying that, yeah, we don't exactly have enough money for you to go buy a new fucking Louis Vuitton bag. That's also financial abuse. Or saying that, you know what, hey, if you want to be taken seriously in this industry, you probably shouldn't be having your cooch and your fucking bobs hanging out all the time, okay? If you want to be taken serious, maybe, consider throwing a shirt on. That's exerting control over your career, giving you advice like that. Like, what's the evidence that's been presented that Johnny Depp was actually controlling, was actually a menace and somebody who was controlling her every moves? Oh, he was doing surveillance behavior. Yeah, like such things as flying her friends across the fucking world in order for her to celebrate her 28th or some odd birth. Is not even that. Yeah, maybe the 28th birthday or something like that. Fly her friends out to the UK. Oh my God, he was constantly asking where I'm going and who I'm going to be with. And he wouldn't let me go. But then I had to negotiate. And then I ended up going to that one party where some other people on the cast we're gonna go get drunk at a party or something like that, and he was having second thoughts about me going out there. Yeah, exactly. That's called a regular relationship. That's like if you have a girlfriend and she's like, oh, I want to just go have a girls' weekend in the city. You know, she, especially if it's gonna be with her single girlfriends, she's gonna be out there whoring. So you probably, if you're, you know, holding the frame in your relationship, she wouldn't even be asking those questions because that's already fucked up to begin with. But that's abuse. That's being controlling. Having reciprocal communication, okay? But nah, man, if woman just can't be fucking having all of her dreams and all of her aspirations funded without any of the consequences, that's abuse. Just that's abuse, okay? Because like it says here, legal abuse is abuse. But I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this for a long time because Me Too, their face there, right? That's Amber Heard, the self-avowed queen of Me Too. Where's the support from the movement? Because you're seeing this also at the same time, okay? I don't have any specific articles pulled up for this. All we got is little tweets that are out there, and it's going to get crazy here in a second. But they're already trying to take Amber Heard and remove her from Me Too, okay? I know she's too crazy. She's just, this is a certain one-off instance. Okay, we still need to believe people that come forward. We still need to believe all women. Just not Amber Heard. Just be like, what, Hassan Piker, you know, the fucking Cenk Uyghur's cousin, idiotic nephew, some dumb shit like that. And he's like, no, you should still believe all women, just not Amber Heard because she's dumb. Duh. Fucking retard. That guy's the least talented person I've ever seen in my entire life. He's basically a fucking video jockey for Twitch, and he gets hundreds of thousands of people tuning into his channel. He's a fucking mongoloid and everybody knows it, but whatever. He has famous connections and he's actually entrenched in it, and don't worry, in a couple years time he's gonna end up fucking catching a case in some form or fashion. Maybe it'll just come out that he was abusing his mother because she wasn't cooking enough chicken tendies for him. But anyways, let's get to Me Too statement. Me Too is the greatest acknowledgement by survivors about the prevalence of sexual violence ever. Yeah, no, fake ones, real ones. I don't really know how many people have actually benefited from, you know, hopping on the Me Too bandwagon, okay? How many people have actually held their theoretical abusers accountable on this? Yet to produce any fucking scalps, but you sure as hell have taken a lot from a bunch of people on the backs of spurious allegations, now haven't ya? Greatest acknowledgement of by survivors, the bestest group ever since the hashtag went viral. Yeah, it was super organic too, but at least you didn't, you know, at least you didn't allege that. So much has shifted towards nuanced narratives. No, exactly. This dude touched me funny 35 years ago. You should go ahead and ruin him. Okay? Or you can be like one of those dumb hoes. Oh, Wilt Chamberlain fucked me back in the 70s, okay? When I had that big fucking unkempt bush. Oh, great. You're one of the 10,000. Wonderful. Fantastic. Why are you trying to dance on his grave? Okay, that's all fucked. Or Bob Dylan. Like, these people, back when it was copacetic, when you guys knew exactly what the fuck you were doing, and now all of a sudden you catch a feeling and you just want to have your 15 minutes of fame. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. And yet, the way in which Me Too has been co-opted and manipulated during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial is a toxic catastrophe and one of the biggest defamations of the movement we have ever seen. See what they're trying to do here? This is even a statement from Me Too. Oh, yeah, no, Me Too has been manipulated and co-opted by the Johnny Depp Amber Heard people. See, she's not part of Me Too anymore. Don't worry about it. It's almost like your boy called it several weeks ago at this point. This is exactly what they were going to do. When the winds started to shift, okay, public perception started to take a hard left, and then it just went right for Johnny Depp, okay? When it started to come out that, you know, maybe Amber's just the fucking nuts, maybe we shouldn't be supporting her. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, the movement, it's really important. Like, even Ben Jew paid lip service during the closing. Me Too is very important, and I know that there's a couple of Zoomers on the fucking jury, so I need to say this stuff because I don't want to get canceled either, because there was one time when my nose just entered a room before me and I could smell somebody's fucking douche in the air. Great, wonderful, fantastic. Over the last 6 weeks, we have been confronted with mockery of assault, shame, and blame, as you should be. Countless headlines proclaiming the death of Me Too. Oh, where are those? Because, oh my, I want to print them out, and I just want to sleep on a bed of them and fucking wrap myself in that quilt. and news stories full of clickbait and endless ridicule of survivors that followed. Just have evidence and nobody will be making fun of you, unless of course the stories are funny. What remains to be seen are the headlines and conversations. You fuckers don't want conversations. You just keep calling for them. We should have a conversation about this stuff. Okay, let's have that conversation. No, you're a bigot. No, what do you mean? What do we need? There we go. Third time's the charm. What do we need to do to prevent anyone else from having to say me too? Just kill all the men, right? And then there will be no Me Too claims ever again. That's why you never see somebody from the grave get Me Too'd. Yeah, exactly. What we experienced in the Depp Heard trial. See, how misogynistic you put the man first. Trial is a case study of how social and political movements get misused and weaponized against the very people it's meant to serve. Yeah, no, exactly. Tell us that you're trying to distance yourself from Amber Heard without saying that you're trying to distance yourself from Amber Heard. Larger than this trial and jury decision is a movement made up of millions and millions of survivors fighting for their dignity, exactly, without a police report in sight. Several of bottles that have been alleged to have gone in various dirty, disgusting places, and a country that is still has to reckon with why it's so invested in the pain and anguish of violence rather than remedying it. No, exactly. It's this trial is pretty much front and center trying to address said violence and pain. You just don't want to stick up for the other side of this. Okay, the people who were actually affected, the guys who actually did fucking catch a beating on a consistent basis. This is exactly what this trial is addressing. You just don't want to acknowledge those. You don't. That's why your icon, that's why it's pink, and that's why it's not a neutral color, because you are a one-way street of defamation, and now you're finally being held accountable, and it's wonderful. Anyways, let's wrap this up. As for Me Too International, the organization that was founded to ensure the original intent of Me Too is realized, we will continue to center and speak to those who need healing. It's nice. At a time when we are facing new threats against abortion rights, gun safety, and those who fight for capitalized black lives, okay. They're big mad about Black Lives Matter because it definitely stole all the thunder, because Me Too was a big deal until, old St. Floyd ascended to that great fentanyl factory in the sky. We will not lose focus because of those who are committed to misunderstanding our movement. The work to build disruption across the spectrum of rape culture persists. What rape culture? What exactly? Are you still going to try to parrot the 1 in 5 women are being assaulted on college campuses? Those same college campuses that you guys run? Take a look at the stats. It's not fucking realistic. It's not even real or anything like that. But neither is this fucking movement or the people who support it. Speaking of which, Eve Barlow, this bitch got thrown out of the fucking trial in the first couple of days because she was trying to text live reports from inside the courtroom. She's a journalist of some kind and may or may not be scissoring with Amber Heard at her luxury desert palace for the time being, but she's been spurging out a lot lately. Okay, she's even trending. If you take a look at certain tabs, Twitter's kind of a cucked place, but let's take a look at this fucking sketchy cunt. If you don't believe Johnny Depp ever abused Amber Heard when they were together, you only need to watch him and his legal team in court the past 2 months to see that they have abused her. Now, legal abuse is abuse. He abused her on live television. When exactly did he... Did I miss that part? Because I've been watching and rewatching a ton of this trial. I don't remember him throwing any candy at her. I don't even remember him looking at her. So how did he abuse her? Oh, by not acquiescing to her demands that, why can't he look at me? I'm looking at him. It's because he knows he's guilty. And all of those other bouts of intermittent acting. He abused her on live television. That was mostly streamed. I don't know exactly who was running with us on live TV, but anyways. And you all watched as she was forced to relive trauma. Yeah, exactly. Hilariously, too. Except for that one time her dog stepped on a bee. Looked really troubled by that. That might have actually happened, okay? Of all of the claims that Amber brought up, I think that that's the one that probably did. Okay. It's truly insane to consider how millions of people can be actively watching abuse live all around the world, and it's being broadcast for profit. Oh my god, evil capitalists BTFO'd, and still people do not see it. Exactly. Take your own advice. You're just watching from the wrong perspective. Speaking of which, I don't understand why the conservative right in the US are rooting for Johnny Depp. He joked about killing Donald Trump. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like the political right is principled in their takes on these things. Maybe they see the facts presented and then realize that, something about this doesn't quite smell right. And we're not talking about a used Maker's Mark bottle. I think the general mood is, I don't understand. Yeah, exactly. Because you can't get your head out of your ass or from between the legs of Amber Heard. So, Johnny Depp is on tour with Jeff Beck, and this is one of the most central claims on this anyways, and this is what kicked off everything that we're going to see here. So Johnny Depp is on tour with Jeff Beck. He played in Sheffield tonight. Very nice, sweet. It looks like he played one hell of a fucking banger of a set too, and will likely play the Royal Albert Hall in London tomorrow and Tuesday. You should have also tweeted out a link so people could get tickets, you fucking publicist. That's the domestic abuse victim waiting for his defamation case verdict, the one who's been canceled. Meanwhile, Amber Heard doesn't have PTSD. Wake up. I actually agree with you on that one. But yeah, no, this led to this wonderful little trend. Eve Barlow is a joke. 14,500 tweets. Pretty awesome. It's been more than 24 hours. I'm just a woman advocating for what's right. Depends on how you read this. She kind of is. If you just take out and you just rearrange a couple of the names. Like if you just went back to the previous tweet where it's like Johnny Depp's out on tour. Amber Heard's out in the desert at a $1 million home. Okay. And I won't stop. Twitter is infinite miles wide, but only inches deep. Says somebody who has how many thousands of tweets? Oh, damn, we don't exactly have an active count or anything like that. That's sad. Probably have it on my phone because the Twitter app and the Twitter site are completely different. Anyways, that's what happens when you get these creeps online. And as you can see, she's also very firm in her stances because she turns on the only follow and mentions can reply. That's why nobody's tagged in any of this stuff, because she just needs to speak her truth. She can't stand up to criticism or anything like that. But like I've been saying for the past couple of days, I've been running back the specific testimony of Heard and Depp, and I haven't quite got to finish all of the stuff, but I did enough to, it's like, okay, what would, if I was in the jury box right now, okay, if I was, for whatever fucking reason, going home for a third day to contemplate my decision, this shit should be fucking over by this point, but whatever, okay, what testimony specifically from Heard and Depp would resonate in my mind and maybe sway me in one way or another? So I've taken probably the most credible testimony, or at least the most emotional and resonating from both sides, okay, from their direct examination, from their cross-examination, what I find more credible. And this is, yes, the bottle story. It's pretty graphic and all that kind of fun, well, not fun shit. I'm sure it sucked for the person that it actually happened to, Kate James. And Amber Heard is also, I'm going to put her on fucking Front Street here a couple of times, because we're probably going to have to stop this and comment on it, because it was just so fantastical, and I couldn't imagine being in the courtroom when she was relaying this story. Not because it's sad, or not because it's like uncomfortable to hear such a horrific incident's happening. It's just she just performed so poorly, and it's like, well, that's actually like on brand for her, because she can't act. But yeah, no, it doesn't really need an intro, but hey, might as well, right? Amber Heard broke down in tears. No tears were detected, none were sent on the witness stand as she said her ex-husband Johnny Depp sexually assaulted her with a liquor bottle and threatened her life shortly after the pair were married. So I think this is pretty loud, so I'm just going to go ahead and mute myself for a half a second, and then we just go run this bitch in the ground. Not Amber. I'm not calling her a bitch. Just her story.
I don't want to do this. Actress
Look at the jury.
Amber Heard broke down in tears on the witness stand Thursday as she told a jury that ex-husband Johnny Depp sexually assaulted her with a liquor bottle and threatened to kill her about...
Yeah, I don't want the commentary from Reuters. Fuck them. So I just got a straight rip, sort of, kind of, a little cropped view from Law and Cucks. So we'll just run it back and try not to laugh at certain points.
No, if it was broken or not, and I just remember Thank you, please, God, please. Please.
Remember, guys, scan the crowd to make sure anybody's paying attention to your story. That's all wonderful and fantastic.
I hope it's not broken. I don't know how that ended. I don't know how.
Because it
I
didn't
got off the
happen.
countertop.
Oh no, that's terrible.
I
At that time, were all your feet cut up because you were also on the countertop, and then your feet were sliding around and your arms were sloshing about, right?
just remember it being in the bathroom. I remember
Do you remember?
retching.
Oh, okay.
I remember the sound my voice was making.
Also, okay, at the same time, right? Because we've actually seen bathroom pictures, none with blood on the floor or anything like that, but just pictures of like all of the scribblings that were on the mirror of her conveniently not in frame of the mirror or of the picture being taken or anything like that. But if there was like the bottles being shoved in places and there was blood everywhere, and oh my God, I was just hoping that it wasn't, broken or anything like that. And you would definitely be feeling that or some form or fashion. But yeah, no, you couldn't describe that because it didn't fucking happen to you. But she takes the picture of a mirror, not of anything else. And also, wasn't she like beat about the head for like 3 days or some shit like that with the, in the presence of the bodyguards? Whatever.
I remember I lost control of my bladder.
Oh. Why didn't anybody testify to
I
cleaning that up?
remember just
Maybe.
retching.
Oh, okay.
I remember there was some blood on the floor.
Where? I remember what crying looks like.
I got up
Did you?
at some point.
Yeah, of course. And it's always at some point. Throw in those little necessary details.
I
Ugh, don't care. So yeah, no, that was the most sympathetic and probably the story that sticks most in the jurors' minds, maybe for so fantastical as it is. I remember listening to it when it first came out, and you can't quite replicate that feeling. It's like, oh, this is kind of, ugh, God, because you initially want to believe somebody who's telling you a story until you start to put two and two together, and then you start to listen to it, and it's like, oh, okay, after the initial shock of, yeah, he raped me with a Maker's Mark bottle. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty tough to initially hear, especially when somebody's trying so desperately hard to show human emotion. You just want to believe them in some form or fashion, and then after a while the story just continues to drone on and on and on, and you just couldn't care any less. So that might be what some people are thinking about, because God knows that they're actually that they're looking at any of the evidence that's presented, or at least the narrative that was told during the closing. Either you believe Amber or you believe Johnny, and then you assign damages accordingly. Okay, so maybe they're looking at the more technical aspects of defamation, which is a tougher case for Johnny Depp to win. But in my opinion, if I was in the jury box, okay, if I was deliberating on this shit, it has evolved so far from being a defamation case to, you wasted 6 weeks of our lives to weave these fantastical stories, and this is the best of what you got? Cool, great. I'm also going to remember this as well, okay? This was during the rebuttal. This was Camille and she on multiple occasions. Okay, I think Camille's finest performance was once again when she restated her position, okay, when she had an opportunity to come back the second time. Because the first time during cross-examination, during Amber Heard's case in chief, she got up there for the first about hour and change where she exposed the whole pledge and donate lie and Amber Heard's semantics game, which is definitely the sign of somebody who is a stable individual. But she exposed that nonsense, put that on Front Street for everybody, and undermined the first 3/4 of the day of her on direct examination. And I don't think that day was the bottle story. It was more or less, oh, the dogs who have never, they've always had a bladder problem, and one teacup Yorkie shit on the bed the size of a fucking scoop of asphalt. Yeah, no, definitely. Even though, there was apparently always like glass and destruction around the house. But yeah, no, we kept the dogs on the bed. So if they had to take a shit, we'd just do that on just regular white sheets. Yeah, no, definitely believe that stuff. But whatever. Continue to reinforce that lie. But then on rebuttal, during the end, this is where Amber Heard cracked, and this is going to be the last thing, the last moments that they remember, because Rottenborn came up and he tried to resuscitate any of that testimony that she gave. And there's a little bit at the end there where it's like, I just want Johnny to leave me alone. It ended up kind of, ringing hollow after the fact that she was just this cunty moments before.
Heard at the beginning of your cross-examination last week, I showed you an audio where you told Mr. Depp to tell the jury, tell the judge, tell the world that he is a victim of domestic abuse. Do you remember that?
True.
That's correct.
And you testified you found it hard to believe that Mr. Depp would tell the world that he's a victim of domestic abuse, didn't you?
Let me think.
I said I find it hard to believe that he would do that knowing that he himself had beat me up for 5 years.
So entitled.
But he has told the world that he's your victim of domestic abuse, hasn't he?
Well, he started to say that only recently. He
Why are
didn't
they
make
both
that
wearing the
claim
same
up until
jacket?
very
That's
recently.
weird.
So
I
when we
haven't
signed
realized
our
that.
divorce agreement and we signed a statement saying that neither party
shirt and
had
ties
ever
match.
said
Weird.
false claims for financial gain, it was relevant and important to me because I was the only one making
not
the
the question.
accusations. I was the
Thanks
only
for
one
answering
making those
something that
claims.
nobody
He
asked.
wasn't doing that at the time, and he signed his name to it.
Listen, you
You didn't
have to
expect
believe
as many
me.
people to show up and testify on his behalf.
This
that
is
did,
insane.
did you?
Incorrect.
Oh.
When you told this jury under
Everybody's a
oath
liar
that you
except
never
for me.
assaulted, actually, strike that. Sorry. When you told this jury under oath that you punched Mr. Depp because you thought of Mr. Depp pushing Kate Moss down the stairs, you didn't expect Miss Moss to agree to testify
Lol.
that never happened, did you?
Incorrect. I know how many people will come out of the woodwork to be in support of Johnny.
So you
It's
think
clear
Ms.
by the
Moss
courtroom
needs
how
to
many
come
people
out
will
of the
do that.
woodwork to testify for Mr. Depp?
Yeah, a supermodel.
Everybody who was around in the 90s and the early aughts knew that rumor. I had heard that rumor from multiple people. Of course, that's what flashed through my
Nobody
head
else
when my
had,
violent
but okay.
husband not only swung for me, but all of a sudden swung for my sister. Of course I thought of
that's
that.
not your sister's
I did not
recounting
expect
of
her
events.
to show up or not expect her to show up. It didn't matter.
She's so
It doesn't
mad.
change what I believed at the time when we were on the
Big
stairs
mad.
and I
Keep
thought
searching
he
the
was going
jury
to kill
for
my sister
sympathetic
by
eyes.
pushing her down the stairs.
That's nice.
You told this jury under oath that Mr. Depp was aggressive and trashed
Camille,
a
on the
trailer
other
in
hand, just
Hicksville.
stand there.
You didn't
This
expect
is
the
nuts.
manager of the Hicksville property, Morgan Knight, to come forward and testify that that was untrue,
This
did
is
you?
wild.
Incorrect. I've already been through trials with this man. I know how many people will come
so
out in support
pissed.
of him.
When you told this jury under oath that you had no idea that the paparazzi would be at the courthouse on May 27th, 2016, you didn't expect a TMZ employee to show up to testify that
No, of
TMZ
course
had
not.
been alerted that you would be at the courthouse and knew exactly which side of your face to take a picture of. Did you?
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power.
Not even
That's why I
people that
wrote
work
this
for him.
op-ed.
Oh,
I
okay.
was speaking to that phenomenon. How many people will come out in support of him and will fall to his power? He is a very powerful man,
many
and
people
people
did that
love
in the
currying
interim
favor with
between
powerful
16
men.
and 18?
Currying
I know
favor
that
and
firsthand. I've
risking
lived
jail
it.
time for committing perjury?
Excuse me? I didn't hear your
You
question.
didn't hear
Excuse
my
me?
question?
Yeah. 'Cause
Ms.
you're too busy
Vasquez, if you
proselytizing.
do mind,
Curry-
please just repeat the question. I didn't hear you.
Curry favor and commit perjury in this courtroom?
I have
For a
seen people do
powerful
this.
man?
I have seen people do this time and time again. That's
Nice
why I
audio
wrote the
sync.
op-ed.
You didn't expect Ben King, the house manager in Australia, to show up from England. He flew from England to testify that Mr. Depp's fingertip was found exactly where he said it would be. Did you?
I have never
That's where he
heard
cut it off
Johnny
and put it in a-
testify to
put it in a
knowing
paper
where his
towel,
finger
right?
was, or really, frankly, making a claim that he knew where it was when it was found. I've never heard Johnny claim that.
You didn't expect
Johnny
Keenan
doesn't-
Wyatt.
Johnny has never
Ms.
actually
Heard.
said that.
Ms. Heard.
And
I think the
Ben
jury
King,
can.
yes.
Ms. Heard, there's no question pending. You didn't expect Keenan Wyatt, Mr. Depp's.
We could continue to run this down, and it's fucking hilarious. I'll probably link to this one because it's just a nice little excerpt, and then it also, tacks on some Rottenborn at the end. But maybe we'll just do like a body language gimmick here for a second. As you can see, she is fucking pissed at Camille right now. Like, she's got that chin, like, what the fuck you doing? Okay, looking down her nose at her, and it's like, this fucking bitch doesn't shut up, I'm gonna whack her. Okay, and then you just take a look. Okay, even just when Rottenborn's up there just trying to proselytize for, I don't know, the audience that's probably tuned out to her at that point. Okay, the chin's down, the eyes are a little bit more squinted, she's trying to inflect some sort of human emotion. It's just literally, you can probably see the timer there. It's 3 minutes difference. And there's also been testimony, and other people outside the courtroom as well have said that whenever they've had direct interactions with Amber Heard, you've seen it probably if you've been watching the case as well, that her ability to just change from one emotion to another at a split second is fucking frightening because she's insane and she didn't present well to the court. at any time, okay? Her direct examination, just running back some of that stuff, it was droning, it was boring, it made no sense. Oh, I've just never ever testified to a timeline of all the horrific events that happened to me, and it was so bad and terrible. You gotta believe me, right? She just plays these semantics games, like you've seen that she played with Camille. Oh well, of course I've said that previously there was another pussy grabbing story, just like Trump, and my girlfriend just managed to fucking tweet out beforehand, right? Of course I testified it. I just couldn't put it in the timeline. I just couldn't remember that it was on my 30th birthday, which you were so big fucking mad about. That's at least what I'm thinking. That's what's gonna stick in the mind of the jury, okay? You had the combative, narrative breaking cross-examination for Amber Heard that came out, in the way that her emotions just absolutely flipped. That's what I'd be thinking about if I was on the stand, okay? And then you had Johnny Depp, and I'm going to run this backwards a little bit because he was on the stand a bunch of times, and his rebuttal, it was, I don't remember a whole bunch about it, but this was towards the end of the cross-examination, after the day and a half of full cross-examination, okay? Rottenborn's up there and he's running down headline after headline of Depp, and the way that he comported himself was totally different than the way that Amber Heard did.
Friends and family seriously concerned about him. Here's why.
Yes.
Correct?
How did they know?
The next article, Johnny Depp reportedly drank heavily and was constantly late on the new Pirates movie set. Did I read that right?
You did, reportedly.
The next
These are all
article,
hit
also from
pieces.
May
These
10,
are drags,
2017.
sir.
Mr.
This
Depp,
is a pathetic attempt.
Mr. Depp, please just respond to the question that I'm asking you.
What's your
The next
question, Mr.
question,
Rottenborn?
the next document, an article published in Vanity Fair on May 10th, 2017,
Yes.
is entitled "Johnny Depp's Financial Woes Might Sink the Next Pirates of the Caribbean."
Might.
Did I read that right?
You did. I don't know
The
how
next
my
article,
financial woes would do
May,
that.
after a string of flops and a ton of bad press, Johnny Depp's star power looks as wobbly as Jack Sparrow on a plank. Did I read that right?
You read that very, very well.
The next one, Hollywood Reporter, May 27th,
Okay,
2007.
again, he's just running all this shit down, okay? A couple of different, tabloid headlines. But you can take a look at the people that are in the jury box, and I understand that they're probably, it's incredibly heavily pro-Depp from the people that were in the courtroom as well, also saying that there might be like one Amber Heard supporter, okay? But then that's also going to be a pretty decent snapshot of the people that are in the jury box as well, okay? His demeanor throughout the entirety of the cross-examination, both times over, it was Rottenborn who conducted it during the rebuttal, and then during the case in chief, okay? And the way that Johnny would just play off any sort of, the cunty interaction that Rottenborn would try to facilitate with his little quips like, "Oh yes, you read that very well." That's being personable, okay? That's not taking things, directly to heart, okay? Because Rottenborn's trying to say that your career was done even before Amber Heard showed up, right? Everything, everything was already on the downturn. You were a fucking failure, and now you're trying to sue your way to relevance or something like that. Maybe that's what your case is all about, but it's so different, right? And he's got to present himself this way. That's Rottenborn, okay? Because, from Amber Heard's point of view, her purview of this case is Johnny Depp's this horrible abuser, okay, who's done so many things that I can't even write them down, properly put them on a timeline, and just got to leave spaces, because in the future I'll invent some more horrific abuse that I've just undergone and I've suppressed for whatever fucking reason I can think about, whatever I come up with at the time, right? And then just add them onto the list, because remember, it started with, "Oh, he hit me and I got a domestic violence TRO," to 14 incidences before the trial, and then another couple that were made up in the witness box. What the fuck ever. And then as hard as Rottenborn went on Depp, justifiably from their side, and then he had Amber Heard when she was in the box getting questioned by Camille, you got to go hard on somebody who, from your purview, is a liar. Everything that she has said over the course of 6 years has been an outright fucking lie. They had the evidence to bore that out, whereas the other side has hit piece headlines. Johnny Depp's a drunken failure and might sink the next Pirates film. Okay? Cool, wonderful, thanks. Is that written by Eve Barlow, or what the fuck are we doing here? And the way that Johnny Depp plays that off, he's just so much more personable, much more likable, okay? And I think that that's verifiably true, okay? Because you had the combative, the chin jutted out, proselytizing to the jury, the scanning for the jury for approval of Amber Heard, as opposed to Johnny Depp just playing off directly to Rottenborn. It's like, you read that very well. Oh, yes. Might, could, wonderful. With this futuristic accent, which is just some parts English, other parts Southern, other parts indescript. That was the way that he comported himself throughout the entirety. And of course, we have all the memes of all the different cross-examination questions. Oh, a mega pint of wine. Can you please repeat that again, Mr. Rottenborn? You continue to read them well. But anything was really all that memorable. Like, they played a couple of audio clips. It's like, do you remember moaning on a plane? Okay, cool. Great, wonderful. That's a slam dunk. That's just as good as a freeze frame picture of an overhand right coming across and making connection with the cheekbone of Amber Heard in 2016. Great, wonderful, fantastic. But when I was running back the direct examination of Johnny Depp, this was the story that stuck specifically in my mind. And I know on direct, everybody will also, to remember, the grumpy that was left on the bed. And that's all funny and that's all nice tabloid shit. But the one story that stuck in my mind was the Detox Story. Okay, he's trying to detox from roxycodone. Okay, and then Amber Heard insisted on being there for the detox, to be there with her, I think at the time, fiance, right? And she demanded to be in control, go figure, of the medicine. And he was describing one bout where all of a sudden he started to get the DTs and he needed access to the medicine. And Amber, because there was some arbitrary time schedule, denied him said medicine that he needs. And we all know that a detox is not exactly a wonderful time, and it was illustrated very well by Johnny Depp. And this is the story that, if I wasn't already on Depp's side, because I've already seen some of this evidence before the trial, him relaying this story, there was no coming back for me unless Amber Heard had some fucking bombshell evidence. I just believed him because the story sounded credible, and it just really painted out Amber Heard to being the monster that she alleged Johnny was, and it was all just pure fucking projection. Let's roll this.
The effects of the withdrawals were really coming on, and I said to Miss Heard, I'm going to need the meds now. And she said, she looked at the clock and she said, it's not time. And I said, no, you don't understand. This is not about clocks and watches and things. I'm going into the ship, and it was visible. And I hate saying this, and I hate to have to admit this, but that was, I believe that was about the lowest point in my life. That was the lowest I'd ever felt as a human being, because I had to say, please, may I have the meds, because it's really kicking in. And she was adamant, no, it's not time. So, in explaining how these withdrawals start to take over your body, when I was begging at that point for the meds, I found that I had sort of...
I'm just gonna pause this for a second because I got captivated from it. But whenever Johnny's relaying a story that he's like actually remembering and not trying to fabricate or lift from somebody else, whenever something is incredibly embarrassing, he always has just a little smile, like, yeah, that's a pretty fantastical claim, but I can't believe this situation I found myself in. And then just let out a little chuckle. That's him processing like actual stress that he had in the moment and just laughing it off because of the absurdity of the situation. I'm going through this horrific detox. Okay, I need access to these pills. Okay, I can't be holding on to the pills at all the time because, you know, addict behavior, and it does have some sort of, it is a tapering process, but you only get one so that you can, you know, just continue to try to wean yourself off so the DTs don't happen all the time, so somebody else has to be in control of them and dole them out as required. But no, it's Amber Heard, okay, demanding, because prior to this testimony and this story being told, she was the one who had to be at the island because it was going to be Johnny Depp's sister, okay, because he was going to bring along his sister and the different doctors that were going to do that, because his sister put him in contact with Dr. Kipper and Debbie Lloyd and all that stuff to go down to the Bahamas, a private area, so he could detox. It wasn't going to be a fun situation, okay, it was going to be very harrowing, and it was going to be a very stressful situation, and he didn't need somebody who was already acting out like a fucking spoiled child, okay? Now, what happened? Well, she managed to weasel herself in, okay, to kick out his sister and then take over control of the drugs. Theoretically, and I would have liked to see this connection be made, okay? Be in control of the monster. Amber Heard was the one who had the reins in order to bring about the monster at any time, and she tried real fucking hard. She couldn't get it. She couldn't get it. God, this... Oh, boy, let's just finish this up.
Rolled off the couch and I was sitting on the floor, crying. I mean, tears streaming down my face, begging another human being to please give me the meds that will take this away. And she would not. She was adamant that, nope, it's not time, 4 o'clock.
I don't know specifically what exactly the jury is running down. We have some inference as to what that question meant just after lunch, but if they're looking at the actual evidence that's there, okay, the fact that this ballooned from a simple defamation case to Amber Heard's fantastical claims, and then by that you had Johnny Depp being able to tell his story for the world to really see for the first time. You elicited all this stuff, and everybody knows how awful of a human being you are, so... You see the hashtags, you see the trends on the side, Amber Heard for prison. Nah, man, she's already in a prison in and of herself. And it's wonderful confines out there in the desert in that $1 million house that she has. Very nice place. Seen the pictures inside of it. Took a look at it yesterday. Sure, it seems like a wonderful little retreat. But when her looks finally fade, she's still holding on pretty nice for 36 years old, but when she has nothing left to wield as a weapon in order to elicit any response or, you know, garner any favor from anybody else, you're gonna be a miserable, lonely old woman, and you're only gonna have yourself to blame. Hope we get a verdict tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll get some sort of an update. And with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. Why don't you follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.